Unquestionably, Melissa McCarthy is one of my favourite comedy actresses. I love her. She's brilliant. And it's very rare that I will not like one of her films. Unfortunately, The Boss kind of breaks that mould a little bit, because this film is not, well, it's not very funny. It's not very interesting, and it's not very good. And I'm finding a bit of a pattern when she works tongue-tied, when she is in a film with Ben Falcone, which is obviously, for various reasons that I'm sure are apparent, is happening more and more. You know, they've been married for a very long time, to the best of my knowledge. And there was another film that I watched recently that he directed and she was in it, and it just wasn't that great. But I'm not going to say that that's always going to be the case when they work together, because I'm sure it's not. This film was released in 2016, directed, as I said, by Ben Falcone, written by McCarthy, Falcone and Steve Mallory. And I will say, before I get in with the narrative, the cast is amazing. Obviously, Melissa McCarthy, I love her. Kristen Bell's fantastic. Peter Dinklage is always great in a comedy. Kathy Bates is in it. It's just, the casting is spot on, and that's something that I really enjoyed. The narrative, I don't know. It's missing something. And I guess for me, the thing it's missing is the element of excitement. So the description from IMDb is as follows. And this says, a titan of industry is sent to prison after she's caught insider trading. When she emerges ready to rebrand herself as America's latest sweetheart, not everyone she screwed over is so quick to forgive and forget. So, Michelle Darnell is a character, played, of course, there by Melissa McCarthy, is interesting enough. She's actually a really well-rounded character. I think the writing of the character is really good, and obviously very well acted, but the narrative just is very weak. It feels like it could have been good, maybe if it took a different direction, but for me it just didn't really seem to grab me. There was nothing about it that made me go, I want to know what happens at the end, I want to know what happens in the next scene, I want to know, why this character is doing that or saying that. I just wasn't bothered. It's not so much that I didn't enjoy watching it, or rather, it's not so much that I was bored watching it, I just didn't enjoy it. I wasn't emotionally invested. I got to the end of it and kind of thought, well, Melissa McCarthy had a few funny lines, but ultimately it wasn't really very good. Would I recommend it? I think if you're a Melissa McCarthy fan and you watch everything she does, then give it a watch, just so you can tick that box and say you've watched it. But I wouldn't rush to do it. I'd maybe give it a little bit more time. There's no need to hurry with it. But once you've seen it, I'd like to know what you think of it. Definitely, not the worst film in the world. It has its good points. The costumes, I really like the costumes. Some nice set designs. Decent acting. Just not the most exciting narrative at all.